You know, one of the best ways to get a great cinematic video using AI is to start with a great cinematic image. So today I'm going to take you through one of my favorite image generators, one of my go-tos. Of course, there's many out there, but this one goes by the name of Flux. It's part of Black Forest Labs, and I use it through a website called Krea AI. That's KREA.ai. By the end of the video, you should be able to generate some great looking images of your own and hopefully turn those into some really nice looking cinematic shots that you can, of course, edit into your own feature. So I invite you to come along with me and we'll get started. So let's jump in. All these images that you see here were created with Flux, again, through Krea AI. It does very good characters, a lot of different style ranges. And style is really the reason, it's what sets your video apart from others. And the more cinematic and the more lighting effects and all the details that you can improve on, really, as you can see by these images, give you something great to start with. And who doesn't love a puppy, right? We have an odd looking bird. We have a kind of cartoonish fantasy bird. This is just a range of images that can be developed. Some great landscapes there. That one's a little more photorealistic. Northern tundra. There's a hybrid plant, one that you won't find in nature. Now we're getting into some great characters, the stylization, the photo lighting, the understanding of film types and camera types, lens types. These are all great features of this generation model. And in a lot of these images, they really look like they could fit in a professionally shot cinematic feature of some sort. That would be great right there as just a character reference. So would this be. That's kind of a Pixar style, another kind of cartoonish Pixar style. Can do it all. Here's a little fantasy generation. I don't know what movie that would be, but I want to see it. Another just dramatic lighting, really great expression. It's very human looking. It's unbelievable how far AI has come recently, you know, to be able to generate images that are so human and so realistic. It's really gotten fine-tuned quite a bit. Now we all know that there's areas that still need improvement, hands and sometimes walking and timing, and you know, people being stuck inside the floor and stuff like that. We see, and you can't expect anything but improvement. And we're heading into a wonderful future as far as what these tools will enable us to do creatively. I have this channel set up as basically a platform for other creators, for hobbyists, for anybody who's really curious about AI and especially AI cinema and what can be done with it. And I invite you to join our Discord. The link is in the description. I invite you to get involved in leaving comments. I read them all, positive and negative. That's it for the images. We're going to jump into our tutorial. Okay, so here we are. This is Krea.ai. That's KREA.ai. We're in the image generation area. This also does video enhancement. It does editing, where you can remove or add or change objects. It does lip syncing and different chat functions as well. But we're going to focus on just the image generation. And I'm in the Flux model. As you can see, there's plenty of different models that you can choose from. The reason that Flux is the default and that I like it so much, it's actually optimized for this site. Uses very little compute units, which you're paying for when you get the subscription for it. The generation time is only about 5 seconds and you get 4 images for it. So in the prompt here, this is just what ChatGPT normally recommends for image generation using Flux. It's a cinematic image generator, so they start it with a cinematic photograph of a subject in a setting with certain lighting, a certain camera type, mood, or visual tone, highly detailed, ultra realistic, photorealistic. You can use several keywords to get kind of the image that you're going for. So let's fill that in. Let's replace it. And this is just an example prompt for a generation. Cinematic portrait of a young woman with freckles, wet hair, standing in front of a rain-streaked window. Natural soft lighting, shallow depth of field, shot on a Canon EOS with an 85mm lens, emotional tone, highly detailed. Now we're going to change our image aspect ratio to 16:9. As you can see, there's several choices with the Flux model. And then we're just going to generate our first set of images to see what they look like and how it comes out. And this is basically what we asked for. It's a rain-streaked window. You've got a young woman with freckles. I'm not a big fan of the freckles with Flux, but we'll go with it for today. As you can see, to me, they look like a combination between freckles and acne, but that's what we've got to work with. Nothing that some styles can't fix up. So let's pick one. Here's surprised faces. And as you can see, that's what it is. It's just a bunch of faces looking surprised. And it typically will dump it in any of these styles at 80%, which is usually too much. I'm going to put in 35. We don't want to have it overly surprised expression. But you can see the expression of the girl has changed now, along with lighting, because of the background. It's interpreting everything out of that image. So now there's a little more white in the image. The girl is not just looking at you sort of melancholy. She's looking kind of shocked or desperate or something. So already we've created a new mood that we could use. This would be a great cinematic shot right here. Somebody, giving some unexpected comment or something like that to create an emotion that she's going to respond to. It's always great to start with an image with that emotion already there that you're going for, instead of telling AI that the girl is happy or something like that. When it's not starting off happy, it's going to look really strange by the time AI turns it happy. All right, so that's just one example. We can also use like this fantasy style, and even though this is said to be a cinematic portrait, which is going to keep it more realistic, this is cranked up. So now all of a sudden we're getting into this illustrative style. Again, great images if that's the kind of cinematic quality you're looking for. If you want to do an animated or illustrative type series, you could use something like that. And of course, if I tone it down a little bit, then you have aspects of that in there. Maybe I can see where the darker hair came from is right here in this little image. There's a girl on a leopard that has dark hair. And so, and that's where it's just kind of feeling out your style and applying it to the image you've already prompted for. But the real beauty when using this is that with Krea, you can include up to 5 styles at once. And I haven't seen that anywhere else. I know you can use styles within Runway, and that's good and all. But it will take one image and use that as the style. Whereas these styles are trained. So for instance, if we select Pixar, it's trained on all these images. So it has a lot of reference points, and it creates a stronger tool along with the sliders to really give you a lot of freedom. So let's do this. Let's mix it up a little bit. Let's add that. Let's put in Pixar. Let's use this one called Hypergel, which has this kind of gooey psychedelic prism type thing going on. Let's add another effect, maybe this glass effect. So I would expect that to put more glassiness to the image, but also probably color generation and patterning. A lot of these are very, very strong influencers. So you want to be a little careful about how you bring it all together. This is, again, very wild, very clock-like, kind of medieval, castle-y, golden. We'll add that one in there, and then we'll add a fifth because we're going to go for broke, okay? Let's see, since we got a girl in the window, I kind of like this kind of ripply style. There's a lot of girls in these images, and you've got different effects, say little fish or light streaks or what have you all around. So we'll add that. Now, I can tell right away I don't want any of these full fours. So we're going to start off low on all of them and try to figure out where aspects that we do like are coming from within the image. Now, I've left Pixar up a little high because I think I'd like to just go that direction, something a little more cartoonish this time. So that's where we're going to start. And again, we've got some realistic but Pixar type images. I can control how much so just by moving the slider over here. But I kind of like that. It's animated but not overly animated. So let's play with, I can tell where this golden bell-shaped stuff is coming in from this filter. And I think that's enough of that right now. But let's turn up the glass effect and see what that does to the image. Well, automatically I see more glass in the images. I really like the lighting on that one. The mood of that one. That's very good. Now, if we turn up this hypergel, I expect that to make things a little towards the wet side, glossy side. I don't see any of the original dewdrops. I do see like what looks like a shiny face over perspiration or something like that. Let's get rid of that one. It's not helping us very much. And let's add a little bit of the lighting effects. This might gray things out because it's a silver toned image. You see little aspects of that in here. That creates kind of a nice coffee shop type of a look. Really great lighting on this one. Good lighting on this one. Just contemplative. We'll turn up this filter a little bit. That should add as you can see in the back, you got these bell towers. Yeah, just kind of interesting settings. It's getting a little more kind of Victorian-ish the more I turn that up, and less coffee shop-like. So we'll take out a bit of the glass, a bit of the reflection, find a happy medium, and here we go. These are all images I feel like I can work with. Now, every once in a while, when you're generating images, you'll come across, a good mix, and you'll just say, "Wow, I really like what it did there." And when you find that, to me, it's a good idea, especially when your image generation is on the cheaper end, to just do a bunch because it'll give you more to choose from, and you'll end up with, a really nice selection of images within that style that you're going for. So let's take it to a different level. We'll put in some new styles. I am going to add this Krea style, which is a little bit wild. We will not go that high because it really likes to throw red and create its own blocky images. We're going to throw in a bit of fantasy landscape in this one. And maybe a little of this Krea style, which is very flowery and very overpowering. So we're going to turn that one down a bit. Let's see what we come up with. You can see where the color's coming from. Okay, that's coming from this style here. Really great kind of warm images. You still have the kind of dampness on the windows, the little dewdrops. That I could see in a Disney movie right there. That's a really great image. I like that combination. We're going to try to find the real sweet spot. So I moved up this little fantasy swirl element of it a bit. And that went in the wrong direction. It's looking a little more like a classroom. So we're going to take it down. Again, we're just trying to find that sweet spot. Okay. Turn some of these up. All right, very good. Now, we'll do one more quick little experiment. I'm going to use some lighting effects and let's say some anime styles in there. This should change it quite a bit. We might even throw in some caricature to exaggerate the facial expressions. So we're going to turn these down a bit, leave the caricature up a little bit higher. After all, these are cartoon characters. Okay, now we're having fun. Now these people look a little concerned, or I don't know what's up with her, but she's got some great hair. Let's turn that down just a tad because that's a little too worrisome looking for me. And we'll turn up the fantasy element and the dark anime element of it a bit. Not quite so frowny. Big eyes there. All right, we're going to tone that down. We're going to turn this up. What do we get? One more, a little less Pixar. Looks like very interested in a cookie or something. And a very startled look. I like the angle of that shot. Very nice. All right, let's turn that up, that down. Yeah, a little less caricature. This should make a much darker animated type image. Again, gives you something to go for. Kind of a realistic background with an animated figure in it. That's a little weird to me. I'm going to turn up the cartoon element a bit. Very cool. Now, let's add a final style just to give it a little flavor. And I'm going to pick something odd. We'll go with this one here. See what it does for throwing color in. I know it's going to focus a lot on the colors that are in that stylized image. Anime, cartoonish. Hey, there's a Pokemon. All right, so now we're in a little kind of a Pokemon zone. It seems like there's characters walking. That comes from this style here, where there's some figures in there. But anyways, it gives you some ideas of different ways you can generate this. This was all using one prompt. So using styles, you can see all the variation that I got in these images. And to me, that gives you inspiration. It gives you things to look at in coming up with new ideas or new video formats or forms that you want to explore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video and find some of my favorites out of this batch, and then we'll go into enhancement, and we'll do some enhancement on them, and you can see how that works in Krea. Okay, so we're back. I found a few images that I liked out of that batch that we just did. And I've loaded up the first one. This was one of the earlier generations. I really like the expression. Again, I'm thinking of all this cinematically, like what could this turn into? And would I see this on a movie screen somewhere or a television screen? And in the case of all these images, for me, the answer was yes. So this is the enhance feature, one of them in Krea. There's several. Some are upscalers and some are generative enhancers. And the difference is an upscaler just adds pixels and makes a larger image, whereas a generative upscaler actually makes changes to the image in order to give you a sharper, crisper image of what you're going for. It can also destroy images. You'll never lose your source image, so you don't have to worry about that. But the settings that are on here to begin with are typically, for most generations, are set like you want them. To move any of them even past 10% in one way or the other, you're in a little bit dangerous territory as far as the results you would expect from that. And if you want to play with that, go ahead. But I just clicked enhance, so we're going to let this bake, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're back, and we have the enhanced image. This is a slider, so this slides between the old image and the new image. And as you can see, as I slide past her hair, you can see the details. You can see the change, how much more realistic the eyes begin to look. There's more texture in the lips. And again, it's generative. So what's happened is we've got a little artifact here. I've generated some spots, but I think I can live with that, especially because this would be used in a moving scene. So go ahead and download this. And I'll go to upload the next image, and we'll run that and see how it comes out. And I'll see you in a moment. Okay, so we're back, and this is another image I really liked. I liked the expression and the camera angle. I liked the backdrop of the street out in, on the other side of the windows with some plants there. I thought the whole scene was very nice, and I could see this being used in some animated feature somehow. So after this bakes, we'll take a look at it. So as I'm going away during the generation process, I just wanted to mention that the generations typically take about 60 seconds. It's not overly dramatic. And I do like how it removed the freckles from this girl. Remember, I'm not a fan of the freckles that it does. Look at the eyes. And here you can see the difference in the iris. Very good job. Sharpens up the earrings. Just makes an overall better image. I would start with that any day. So we'll download that one. And that was a really good turnout. Next one, let's load it up. Okay, we're back with the next one, and I like this image. Again, it just looks like a girl doing homework in a room or something like that. Again, it really cleaned up the face. It actually made it look more human, even though it's stylized in a cartoon style. I don't know many people who have quite this build. And it really did a nice job on the light, on the window. Overall, very pleased. Look at the eyes, the reflection in the eyes, really good. I'll take that one any day. Let's download that. I think we got another one. And we'll do the last one, and then we'll come back and we'll round things up. Okay, so as we let this image finish baking, you can watch how it enhances. This is in real time, by the way. And it does a pretty quick job once it gets out of the queue. And then it'll finalize, and it'll show us our final image. Helped a little bit with the freckles. I liked the sort of sad contemplation, looking out the window, the light on the face. I thought overall it was a very nice image. Did the enhancement help in this case? Yeah, I would say overall it did. not to as great of effect as a few of the others, but I would still use it. Maybe there's a little bit of artifacts on the cheek, like looks like growths or something, or hair, but so I might not use that one. You don't know until you run them, right? So that's what we do, and that's why I like to do this with you, so we can learn together and save you a little bit on your generations. Now, by the way, there's several plans that you can use on Krea. And let's get into their pricing. I'll go back to their homepage. There's actually a free plan. It doesn't give you a lot, but every day you can come and log in, and you can generate up to 13 images on Flux. So that's kind of a nice feature to be able to do daily. Now, that does not give you commercial rights to it, but it will let you play with the tool. I'm on the Pro plan, which is $35 a month, or $28 a month if you buy a yearly subscription. Whether or not the yearly is worth it, it obviously saves you money. I always look at the speed in which technology is increasing, which is just astronomical right now. And in my mind, I might be on a completely different tool within 6 months. And so if I paid for a year, I'm going to lose something. So I stick to the monthly, but I'd be curious to know your thoughts, and I'd be curious to know, what you prefer. Leave your comments in the comment section, and share with others. I'd like to also invite you to go to our Discord, and the link is in the description. Just click on that and join the server. If you're a creator, you'll have special content rights, so that you'll be able to engage in more discussions. You'll be able to promote your videos and your channel. There's a lot of information that can be shared there, tips and tricks, collaborations, interviews. We're going to do some future film festivals as well. So I hope you'll join. I hope you'll look into that. I thank you for watching this video with me. Hopefully you've learned something. I hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.